Hey everybody, Hidden Dingman here from PC World. I'm here with Adam Patrick Murray.
That's me.
We are on camera today. We're not speaking to you from a void.
Nope.
We're here to talk about Game of the Year 2018. I don't know how many of these games Adam's actually played.
A couple of them.
Okay.
I played a couple of them.
Cool.
Yeah.
I've got the whole list right here. We're just going to run through them real quick.
Is this in any particular order?
No, it is
No.
not. As
okay.
always, we have one Game of the Year winner. We have 9 runners-up
Okay.
in no particular order.
That makes it easy.
And it's a very indie-heavy list this year. We have one AAA game on our Game of the Year list.
Yeah.
We have a couple more in the honorable mentions, but yeah, it's been a bad year for AAA.
Cool.
We might as well get the AAA one out of the year. Hitman 2.
Hitman 2.
Yeah, I love Hitman 2. Did you play any Hitman 2 this year, Adam?
I have played a little bit of Hitman 2.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great game. More of the same, I think, is what we said in the review, and that holds true, but it's good more of the same. It's just more levels to cause havoc in.
Hitman's good.
Also, I'm a real big fan of the homing briefcase. That's our AAA game of the year right there.
What about Fallout 76? I thought we were going to...
Not on this list, Adam.
Whoops. All right.
Let's go into the next edition. This was a late edition of the list. Dusk just came out.
Which I had never even heard about.
When we are recording this, it came out 2 days ago, December 10th. Great game. It's a throwback shooter. It came out in 3 different parts. So episode 1, I think, came out in 2017, but they just wrapped up episode 3. Some good 90s scary shooters around. It's like you're shooting the KKK and you're shooting a bunch of monsters, and then some soldiers come in. Lots of really neat environments. It's all done in that old retro art style, so
nice.
semi-pixelated and semi-3D, 2D sort of thing.
Okay.
It looks like a Quake game, I guess you would say. The guy who produced it was part of the Rise of the Triad remake team back in 2013.
Okay.
But this is a one-man game as far as I know. It's just one guy built this. So
Cool. All right. I'll check it out.
Dusk is great. Highly recommend it.
Tied for number 2.
Tied for number 2. Also tied for number 2, Yoku's Island Express.
Yeah, I've been wanting to play this, actually. I've heard a lot of good stuff about this one.
Yeah, so this is I'm going to pardon the use of the term Metroidvania. I know that's a touchy subject, but
I thought it was a pinball game.
It is also a pinball game. So that's the gimmick here. It's a Metroidvania that also is a pinball game. And so all of the environments are designed with flippers, and so you use the triggers to flip yourself up through all of the different levels.
That sounds fun.
It's really cool. Mainly, it's just a really fun mechanic. It's one of those things where once you play it, you're like, how did nobody else ever do this? Like the pinball Metroidvania mashup that seems so natural. So moving on to number 2. You want to talk about Into the Breach?
I loved Into the Breach. In fact, of this list, Into the Breach is probably my number 1.
Yeah.
Because I've dumped way too many hours across way too many different systems.
Yeah, well, and it's great because that's a game. I mean, each of those runs is 20 to 30 minutes maybe.
Yeah,
so it's a game
depending.
that you can sort of just. When I was playing it, I haven't played it in a couple months now, but when I was playing it, it was like my before bed game where I would just jump in and do one run.
Oh,
and
that's
then
too hard. That's too hard.
Yeah, it's real hard to break yourself away from it.
That's way too hard.
But it was a great okay, I'm gonna do a run and then I lost and okay, I'll just go to bed. Yeah, I love that game. It has a lot of really creative ideas, a really creative approach to tactics that I wasn't expecting when I started playing it.
Yeah.
And I love all the art as well. I love the big pseudo Godzilla monsters and stuff.
And it ran on pretty much everything. I would put this in tablet mode and just sit on the couch, and the touchscreen controls were actually fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. It wasn't perfect, but it was enough for me to just lounge on the couch.
I love that game. That was a real early oh man, this is gonna be a good year for indies.
Well, good thing. I'm just glad it's tied for number 2.
Yeah, tied for number 2. Also tied for number 2, Thronebreaker, which you had never heard of.
No.
Thronebreaker, the Witcher Tales, I think, is the full name of this.
Yes.
This is CD Projekt's single-player Gwent spin-off. they made Gwent, right, which is a multiplayer game, and then
which I never played either.
They were building on the side a single-player campaign, and so it's just like a really weird mix, but it works really well, and it has that CD Projekt writing level that I really like.
Nice.
So you're still like you're making decisions about the fates of various characters. So yeah, that game is really cool. I highly recommend it.
Cool.
I think they moved it over. It was originally Good Old Games or GOG.
GOG, yeah.
Exclusive, but then I think they said it didn't sell as well as they were hoping, so it's now on Steam. Hopefully it sold well enough because it's great.
I mean, it's great enough to be tied for number 2.
Yeah. Also, Cube Escape Paradox, which I bet you didn't hear about.
Well, no, I know about it, but I didn't play it.
Okay. Yeah. This is one of the Rusty Lake games, and I've been championing the Rusty Lake games here at PC World for a long time now, and follows on from, they have a bunch of free-to-play web-based games. That's the Cube Escape series, but they're tied in together. And the gimmick with Cube Escape Paradox was it was a hybrid of like Escape the Room game and then a film, like a 20-minute short film that they made.
Interesting. Okay.
It's like a pretty basic sort of room escape, and a lot of the Rusty Lake like aesthetic carries over. So it's a lot of like, oh, this guy's like bleeding in a cabinet, and oh, that's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I'm like a total sucker for their aesthetic. I think that their games are fantastic, especially for like room escape, which is generally like a pretty boring genre. Cube Escape Paradox, I think it's fantastic. It has a really unique art style, unique in that it's their art style still. And then just the story they tell in that game is just as weird as all the other ones, but it's enhanced by having that like film portion in the middle. That is on our list at number 2.
Nice.
I'm also gonna put Mutant Year Zero at number 2. You saw this one?
Well,
we
saw it at
me
E3.
play it at E3.
Yeah. I've not played it myself, but it's something that I would love to get into right after I already hit XCOM 2. Because I've yet to play that either. So.
You're far behind. I would actually recommend maybe going the other way, only because Mutant Year Zero is shorter than I expected.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's only like 15, 20 hours maybe.
Okay, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's doable, whereas like XCOM, that's like the beginning of your campaign.
But do you think you can step from the stealth aspect of Mutant Year Zero back to the
I don't know, it's hard.
XCOM?
Yeah, that's kind of why it's on here. Like, I think the Mutant Year Zero, to some extent, is like an unfulfilled potential in a way. Like, there's a lot of stuff that I would have loved to see them have like 10 more hours to expand on, including the story and the world and all that stuff. But I also think it's probably the best. I mean, Into the Breach is on here, so I'm not gonna say the best tactics game of the year, but like sort of in a way. It's like Into the Breach. It's like a real creative version of the stuff that I like in XCOM. It's just like a fun take on stuff that we've seen like a million times in video games, especially. Like, video games love post-apocalypse stuff, but this is like that Fallout, like old Fallout version of post-apocalypse stuff, where it's like funny and still
that's fun.
You're supposed to like laugh at it. It's not just like sad
Serious,
the entire time.
And grim.
So yeah, that's on here, tied at number 2.
Sweet.
Let's move on to Subnautica. Did you play that one?
I did play a little bit of this one.
Yeah. That one's a weird. I mean, that was January 8th. Like, if you want to talk about games that have been on this list since the beginning of the year.
I didn't play it right at the beginning, but that's.
Yeah, that game was in early access for a couple of years, I want to say, 2 or 3 years. I think that game, like that, I'm not a survival game fan.
Yeah, me neither.
Subnautica is the only. Really?
Yeah.
So Subnautica is the only survival game that actually hooked me, because that world is always the same world.
It was pretty cool. Yeah.
And they, like, put stuff in it that makes you want to explore the new regions in a way that, like, I feel like most survival games, the end goal in most survival games is surviving, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, hey, you're just gonna build this
day.
cabin for the hell of it. Subnautica is like, hey, I want to be able to build my cool underwater base so that then I can go deeper and then explore what's down here. So yeah, I think that's like, it's the only survival game that I've spent like tons and tons of time playing, because it like is more structured than a lot of those survival games. And is more about like, hey, like here's a story we want to tell you, and then you're just happening to have to harvest, air, fish, and stuff along the way. So yeah, I love it. our last number 2 game, I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
Return to the Oberdin.
Yeah, that was fun. I've yet to get into this one, but after we did that video...
Yeah, we did the video with it.
Oh, man, that looked really cool.
Yeah, so that's, I think, ruined detective games for all time.
It's a good game.
It's very creative. I love the art style as well.
It's super cool.
I think we ended on that Kraken scene in the video.
Yes, we did, yeah.
There's even weirder stuff than that in that game.
Wow. Okay.
It's just like a very, like, I don't know, Jules Verne, I guess, would be a good comparison. Verne-esque world that he's built where it's like, oh, it's pseudo-Victorian England, but like everything about it is just like weird sci-fi and stuff.
Supernatural.
Weird supernatural stuff. I think it's amazing, and I love that 1-bit art style. I'm glad that he finally got to put that game out. Having read some of how that game evolved over the years, it seems like the development was pretty crazy in terms of like it started as a thing that was probably like this big, and then by the end it was like
I can imagine.
So yeah, congrats to Return of the Oberdin. Didn't quite make it to Game of the Year.
But number 2's close.
He got it Papers, Please in 2013 from us. So good job.
Great.
Number 2, tied for number 2.
Yes, I love it. Well, what is number 1, Hayden? Drum roll, please.
Yeah, our Game of the Year this year is Celeste.
Yes, I'm surprised. It's a surprising pick. Why do you love Celeste?
It was, I mean, first of all, it was our Game of the Year at June also, so it's been on the list. Same thing, it's been on the list like this whole year. I think that game came out early February.
I don't remember, yeah.
Well, on a surface level, it's like the best platformer I've played in years. Super tight. Did you play any of Celeste?
No, I heard it was brutally hard, and I didn't have the patience.
Yeah, so it's in the tradition of like a Super Meat Boy. It's a super hard platformer,
Which,
like
I did
super
not
hard
like Super
precision
Meat Boy.
platformer, right? So it's a lot of like jumping off walls and then like having to like nail the landing and then jump off immediately and land on another platform. The difference is that like Super Meat Boy was like an adversarial game. Like in Super Meat Boy, when you lose, you just feel bad, and it's like sort of designed to make you feel bad. Like that's like part of its whole aesthetic is like, oh, you're not hardcore enough to be Super Meat Boy.
Very PC.
Celeste is not that. Celeste, the thing that I like about that is it ties the precision platforming side of it to the themes of that story. And so you are climbing a mountain. Celeste Mountain is like the titular mountain of the game. But the whole thing is, and I'm gonna spoil some stuff because it's hard.
Spoilers.
It's hard to not.
No, yeah,
it's hard to talk about this game without giving away what makes it special. And so if you have heard, oh, this is our Game of the Year, and you're interested in Celeste, I would say just go play it. That's like pretty solid advice usually, but like in general, Game of the Year stuff gets a little weird.
Yeah.
So the mountain in Celeste is also a metaphor for like depression and anxiety and other like mental health struggles. And so when you die in that game, first of all, I should say that game has a great assist system. Okay. So like you can turn on assists at any time in the game. So you can like give yourself an extra jump or like a slow down time feature whenever you want. The game does not like, unlike
doesn't penalize you or say.
Yeah, there was a Cuphead was like last year's it's just like you play it our way or you don't play it at all.
Yeah.
Celeste is like the complete opposite. Like they're like, hey, we just want you to be able to get through this game however you need to. And then the game does a great job of subverting, because you come into it thinking like, oh, it's the hard platformer. Like this is Super Meat Boy. I'm just gonna struggle the whole time. And instead, you come into that game, and after the first level, I think, it's like, hey, man, don't worry. Like, it'll tell you how many times you die in each level. And it's like, hey, man, don't even worry about that number. Like, the important thing is that you made it through. And then, like, the whole game is just them, like, reinforcing those ideas and being like, hey, you can do it. Like, you can make it to the top of the mountain. And as you go through the game, you realize that, like, the game is actually about overcoming depression, overcoming anxiety. And so they're like telling you, hey man, it's okay to like slip and fall. Like it's okay to like fall back into bad habits. It's okay to be sad as long as you keep trying. And so yeah, I think it is like a strong achievement in terms of like tying mechanics to the story and the themes. And then on top of that, it's just, as I said, a fantastic platformer. Like we don't usually address very serious themes in video games.
Yeah.
Celeste is like one of the first times where I was like, oh, this is like, it's doing a thing and is doing it so subtly that you're already like 70% of the way through the game before you're like, oh, this is all like, oh, okay, I understand.
That's awesome.
So yeah, Celeste, game of the year.
Wow.
I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
I think it's heads and tails above anything else this year. And I say that as somebody who like, I loved all these number 2 games that we went through, and it hit me as somebody who like has dealt with depression and anxiety. It hit me in a way that like nothing else this year.
Wow. Okay.
Even comes close.
I guess I'll have to try it then.
Yeah, highly recommend anybody who hasn't played it, play it.
Wow.
And yeah, game of the year, 2018.
Congratulations.
We'll just run through. We have a couple honorable mentions. It's mostly expansions, and I don't want to dwell on them too long. It's just enough to say like, hey, they could have been on this list. We don't make expansions eligible for game of the year usually. So Prey Moon Crash, which is their like roguelike version of Prey.
Looked really cool.
Incredible.
I've yet to go back and do that.
If that was a standalone game, that would be on this list for sure.
That's awesome.
Assassin's Creed Origins, that Curse of the Pharaohs DLC, which came out in April, I want to say. That's the best Assassin's Creed has ever been.
Wow.
Bar none. We've got Destiny 2 Forsaken on here.
Which was pretty awesome.
Yeah, I think it's a
lot
fantastic expansion. I think Destiny 2 started really rough and honestly is still in a sort of rough place post Forsaken. I don't really love the new DLC structure, which is like weird event-based stuff. It's not, like last year we got 2 major expansions in between the base game and Forsaken. Now they've moved to like, oh, it's the Black Armory or whatever, and it's just kind of like, there's not a big reason to go back. There's no cutscenes or anything. But Forsaken itself is fantastic. I think it's one of the best expansions this year. And then we have a non-expansion. We have Yakuza 0 on here.
Which I've tried to play twice, but I've not gotten super deep into.
Yeah, it's a great game. Yakuza 0 is really fun. We're only throwing it in the honorable mention section because it came out everywhere else last year.
Well, thank you for coming to PC.
Yeah, exactly. I hope that Sega brings the rest of those games to PC. I know Kiwami is supposed to come sometime soon, I think.
Yep.
And also, Judgment, I think is the official name, but Project Judge Eyes or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
I hope that comes to PC because I want nothing more than to kickflip a skateboard into some guy's face. So, that's our Game of the Year list, everybody.
Yeah,
2018 is over, finally. Not quite over for us, but,
Almost
over.
Yeah.
We'll be back in 2019. We'll have a 2019 list going up also, a most anticipated list. We'll see you back here early in January for
on the flip side,
Resident Evil 2, it looks like, is our first big game of 2019.
Yes.
So
stay tuned for that.
See you then. Thanks again for Celeste, and thank you, Adam, for
anytime
coming with me on this.
All right. See ya.
See ya.